Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Edgerunners HQ and our Cyberpunk RED TTRPG talk show, Night City Sofa. I am just here with games, and this is Edgerunners HQ. You can find us here on Twitch, YouTube, Blue Sky, and sometimes Patreon. If you are new to the channel or the show, please feel free to leave your comments or questions, especially questions. We love answering questions in the chat. We'll get to them as soon as we can. Tonight, we are continuing our in-depth look into the missions of Cyberpunk RED's complete 3-level campaign, Tales of the Red, Hope Reborn. If you want an overview of the campaign without spoilers, you can head to the Night City Sofa playlist on YouTube. And check out mission, I think it's called mission, or campaign overview or whatever. It's safe. There's a warning at the front. It'll tell you it's safe. And you can check that out there. Otherwise, if you're planning on playing through this and you don't want any spoilers, you're not the GM, you're not going to play it through single player mode, this is spoiler heavy, so you should lurk without sound. But thank you for watching the video, because it makes the algorithm like us. Okay, so tonight we are going to go over the 5th mission in the book, Hope's Calling. This is a large mission. There's a lot of moving pieces. There's like an intro missions, and then the big mission. There's a lot to it, so just buckle in. It's going to be a big one. This one was written by Chris, I think it's Spivey. I'm so sorry if I just pronounced your name wrong. It's estimated to take 8 to 12 hours of playtime. I would err on the 12-hour side of it personally, but...
Me too.
Yep. I think you could do this in 3 sessions. That does feel...
Yeah.
That does feel right.
Reasonable.
As always, the mission begins with your table of contents, your beat chart, very, very, very big beat chart, and a list of rumors. Now, the beat chart it's a lot, because there's a lot of back and forth before you hit the climax. And it depends on what the crew decides to do, what path they want to take, and you may be running multiple beat charts if the crews decide to split up and do multiple things at the same time. So, keep that in mind. Now, as for the rumor table, you may need to alter it for the Devil's Cut rumor, depending on how your players handled that mission.
Yeah.
So it just is a, future thing. Keep that in mind. Now, as for the background of this mission, Marianne is hiring the crew for 500 of each to be and do whatever she needs up until opening night to ensure opening night is a success. So far, everything is going wrong, but she is hell-bent on opening the doors at 9 p.m. and nothing is going to stop that. Absolutely nothing at all. So, in addition to the problems that are going to come up, there's a lot of background information that you as the GM are going to need. There's a lot to keep in your noggin, like a lot. So
because there's so many moving pieces.
Try to go over that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Pieces and players.
Well, and a lot of missions will give you a map or something that you may need, you may not need. They'll give you some characters they may run into. Almost everything that they give you with this is something that you will definitely need, and the fact that there's 2 pages of this is the supply closet. These are things you actually need to know for the missions, so...
Yeah. I'm going to start with the building layout. Now, the Forlorn Hope is, on the surface, a 2-story tall building. It is 4 floors, however, overall. And there's plenty of staff who call the place home. Some of them just work there, some work and live there. And the staff, of course, includes John, the professor, and Marianne Freeman. If you've already met them, they should be staples. Marianne continues to give you the job, so you should know them. You have your head of security, who is Petra. However, if she died in the very first mission, there was a sidebar that Lieutenant Tanzia will take Petra's place. Now,
Yep.
if you're not playing this as like your whole campaign, or if you didn't start with this, if you played Reaping the Reaper, your crew will actually know Lieutenant Tanzia. They've met her before.
Yeah.
If not, and Petra has died, this is a great way for them to maybe interact with her ahead of time. But if you're going to run Reaping the Reaper after this, just note you're going to have to change that introductory default speech of "this is my person," because your players will obviously have
Right.
before. Your head cook is Edelweiss. She might have died. If she died, the position isn't filled. They just move one of the servers into the kitchen.
Yep.
So, they have a tech named Backhand, MedTech Doc Stoic. Your crew may have met if they got injured originally. Then there's the band, which is Grey Steel, and the Distortions, who include Chevalier, Legacy, and Random, who your crew should have met throughout the previous missions if they remembered to actually talk to band members. Like
they've been setting this up for a while.
If, however, they completely forgot about that, if you forgot about that, they forgot about that, and that never became a thing, Grace just finds these people on her own, so don't worry about it.
Yep.
Excuse me. Valance is one of the servers. Valance is one of the people who has plot armor in the first mission, so your crew does know Valance. But there are 3 new servers, who are Jorge, Sid, and Annie. That doesn't include the regulars of the bar, and I'm not going to go through their list now. I'm going to bring that in later, because I don't think they're important right now.
At the moment, yeah.
But they are up and about and milling about, so if your crew has interacted with them, if there is a person that they've really attached to, I don't see what's wrong with giving them some RP of like a little bit of, oh yeah, it's really, really hectic. I'll talk to you later or whatever as they're running around, use them to set the scene. All these people are here.
Yep.
Now we do have some beautiful blueprints, courtesy again of Saga Mackenzie. The basement is the location of the bar, so that's where the grand opening is going to take place. The sub-basement is where you find a tech workshop, the med bay, shooting range, and other headquartery type rooms. And this, the Hope, is a great example of an NPC HQ that your players can use.
Yep,
So long as
and
the
it
Hope
has most of the things you
survives.
can need. Yeah.
Yeah. So if your crew doesn't actually like have a med tech or they don't have that advanced healing, this place does. Right?
If you need tech work done, there's a tech here that can do the work for you. They'll complain the whole time, but they'll do it.
Or your tech, if your tech actually befriends Backhand, and good luck with that, it's not going to be easy, they might be able to borrow the workshop to get those headquarter bonuses.
Yep.
So keep that in mind. The ground floor has various living spaces from cubes to 2-bedroom apartments, and the top floor is where you'll find Mary and the professor's apartment, as well as Petra's. If Petra's still alive, if she's not, it's just an extra apartment up there. And then opposition-wise, so that covers staff, the building, and now the opposition that's going to come into play. First, we have Vox and Papuli. I'm not going to go with their other names. They have like 3 names each. It's just, there's Vox and Papuli. They are integral forces to this mission. So I know on the rumor chart, they're like, roll a d6, and that's the rumor you get. I would give them the rumor about those two, regardless of the roll.
Kind of important.
Kind of important. So yeah, so if you want to give that one in addition to another one, go for it. If you want to sprinkle these rumors in through the downtime, because they think it said you have a month now between the last mission and this mission.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to make it so obvious that this rumor is vital to this mission, maybe give it to them week 2 or 3.
Yeah, sprinkle it in.
But definitely I would give them that one. There is a crew of edge runners who are hired by Vox, who are called the Badland Bandits, that your crew went into. There's the Breadcrumb Legion. Will make a huge splash in this one, and then finally the Gentleman. Okay, so that's those are the basics of what you're kind of going to play with, and there's still outside set pieces.
And just the basics.
So to start off, Marianne has a checklist. She needs help taking off items on her list to make sure opening night is a success. Pay, of course, is 500 plus free food and drink during the party.
Yep.
There are 3 things that she needs help with. Picking up produce from stem and seeds that's already been paid for, and they are the ingredients for the Hope's new signature drink, the Hope Reborn. Backhand, the tech needs assistance testing electrical grid and tech systems. And then Marianne also needs to check in with the band just to make sure that they've got everything they need for performing tonight. Everything needs to be done before 9 p.m. 9 p.m., the doors open no matter what. Hell or high water, okay?
Whatever's done is done.
Whatever is not done is not done. And it's okay if it's not done. But if it's not done, it's not done.
There's a couple of things that I really hope you do.
Yep. If a task is... It does affect things. It will affect things. If you don't do it, but that's their choice. Now, to keep track of time, you're going to use a clock mechanic, but this time instead of rounds, it measures hours and minutes. The mission starts at noon. I would just start it at noon, even after Marianne gives her spiel and everything else. If they're like, oh, did time pass? Once it starts, start it at noon. Make your life easier, give them as much time as they need. So they have 9 hours, which may seem like a lot of time. It's not.
Especially depending on how they want to get things done.
Now, you do have a chart that will tell you how much time each side quest takes and how long it takes to accomplish. But there is also a note that if your players want to try to reduce that time, they can. As long as they come up with a valid reason and make a skill check to whatever DV you set, they can reduce it by 15 minutes. It's not going to be a lot of time, but it's still extra time.
For sure. Which, in the end, will make a big difference.
Mm-hmm. So we start with the checklist that Marianne has of the 3 things. And I'm going to pass it on to Games to talk
about the checklist.
Uh-huh.
I will mention that for a lot of this, it involves travel time. And she has said that if you don't have a car, she will loan you the Forlorn's van. So you don't have to panic if you don't have a car. But a lot of these, especially the ones that take 2.5 hours, involve driving somewhere and doing something. The something takes half an hour. Takes 0.5. But the driving there takes an hour, and the driving back takes an hour. So you're investing 2.5 hours into doing these missions. So, a lot of the no matter how well you plan something, which it says to give you some leeway as far as that goes, at the end of the day, you're still going to have to deal with traffic, no matter what. But the first,
city, so
the first mission that she brings up and that the book has is the Stems and Seeds mission. Your characters are given a special code, and you're supposed to go to Stems and Seeds and pick up the produce that she needs for the drinks at the day market or the night market that's going on there. And you give the code, and then they're going to give you the produce that's already paid for, and you get to leave. The problem is, when you show up, somebody has already used the code and picked up the produce. And that's a problem, because you need that produce. You have a couple of options. You could try to buy the produce yourself. The thing is, the shop is not going to give you refunds because of somebody else getting your stuff. And Marianne's already paid for it, so she's not willing to pay for it again. So if you try to take care of it by paying for it yourself, then just know that that's coming out of your pocket and you will not be reimbursed. And fresh produce is not cheap.
Does it have a cost, by the way?
It doesn't have a cost in here, but it does say one of the solutions would be to try to buy the stuff yourself.
Yeah.
So
I was just curious.
I'm assuming that they're expecting the GM to just come up with it.
Okay, that's fair. I just, you know what? I read through it, and that never occurred to me because I was like, obviously they're not going to pay for it themselves. And I was like, no, you know what? Some crews just might. They might just be, I'll pay for it, no problem. And I'm like, huh,
Screw it.
I don't think we have a cost for that.
We don't. But yeah. So through information gathering and things like that, you find out that the crew that stole it is the notorious Badland Bandits, who is a rival running crew. And then you need to chase after them to try to get the produce back. That is the best solution here. So now we get to use the chase mechanics to try to chase them down to get the things. This can end with 3 different ways. They get away. If they lose the characters for more than a round, they are gone. And you have to come up with a new solution for these ingredients. And Marianne's not going to be super stoked if you come back without the produce. Number 2, you have killed and eliminated everybody in the other vehicle, and you come back with the produce, but, you also murdered some people along the way. Or number 3, you find a way to stop them and get the produce back. But yeah, they're just a rival crew that have no information except for they were given the code and told to pick up the produce. And you know that the only people that have the code is Marianne and I forget who the other person was that has it.
Just Marianne.
Is it just Marianne?
But you don't find that out till after.
Yeah, if at the very end of the thing, if you're trying to figure out what exactly went down, your other option is that, somebody must have stolen the information from her because she would not have just given it out to somebody.
Yep.
But yeah, so it ends in a car chase and probably a shootout to try to get it back. Hold on. Nope. I was just looking to see if it did have a price, because down here it says it's talking about the transferring the money to the garden and all that.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't actually have a price.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
But you're looking for things like jalapenos and blood oranges and stuff like that, which are not easy to find. So chasing down the bandits is really the way to go.
Yeah.
And then
I think I would give, what is it, fresh fruit for a month is what, like $2,000?
I think so. I'd have to look it up, but they're not easy to find ingredients. I know that.
Yeah, I might just make it $2,000 if it was me, because it's specific and because it's in large quantities.
Yeah, because she needs enough to make the
drinks.
The Hope Reborn. Yeah. If your characters bring back the produce, she is super stoked about that and will even make you one of the cocktails. If you come back without it, she stresses out a little bit but doesn't linger on it and says she'll come up with a new solution and pushes you along your way. Yeah, it says Marianne and the professor were the only 2 that knew the code.
I was saying maybe her.
Yeah.
At best.
Yeah, those are the only 2 that knew it. So a deduction will lead you to figure out that somebody probably hacked her agent to figure it out. And then we move on to faulty wiring.
Before you move on for stems and seeds, because there is a note about like the Pierces, because they have a gorilla garden. They don't grow fruit.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a note there. They're like, the Pierces
Yeah.
cannot help you. That's not what they grow. So they don't have it.
Blood orange is not high on their list.
No, it's like basic food crops. So no. Now, if you've played other missions, maybe you're thinking of like other chefs that maybe that they have met or whatever. It's an avenue if they really want to. If they're like hell bent on really going down that. Sure. I mean, maybe
Let them
somehow
try to
they
work it out.
impressed the Mater D at Laloon Blue during Agents of Desire, whatever that mission was. And maybe they have blood, or they probably would. It's going to cost you a lot, but it's also going to cost them a lot of time. So
Yeah.
if they really want to do it, you can say sure, but it's going to be another 2.5. I would say another 2.5 hours because drive time plus half hour
Right.
for supplies. So that's another, like, that's 5 of 9 hours you are wasting on ingredients.
Burnt up.
But if that's what they want to do, I would not stop them.
Yep.
They can try. try to encourage them to do something else.
Yeah. Sometimes it's okay to take the loss. It's not the ideal, but sometimes it's okay to take the loss. So then we move on to the second mission, which was Backhand in the basement or in the tech area needs help with figuring out some electrical problems they're having. When you go knock on the door, they open the door and they have a smile on their face like they just heard a joke, but they are completely rude to you and standoffish the entire time. Talking to them, you find out that since this was all installed, that there has been random power surges and spikes in different areas, that they oversaw the installation of all this, and none of that should be occurring. So they need you to go track down all of these little power surges and problems that they're seeing to try to clean up the system. They're willing to give you a tech scanner, a modified specialized tech scanner that gives you a +3 to your Lexec checks to track down where the problem is. And they tell you to go look because it is in all areas of the building. Then they tell you that Marianne... What?
Almost all areas.
Yeah.
And this only
then they
started
tell
this
you,
morning, not since
yeah,
it was installed. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was fine when it was installed and they oversaw it, and then it just started giving out weird spikes. Marianne's willing to give you the master key card that will open every lock in the building, including all of the people's personal rooms. She makes it very fucking clear when she gives you this key card that this is a big sign of trust and you should not fuck it up, because she doesn't just hand out this key card lightly. So, good luck with that.
The only thing it doesn't open is the vault.
Yeah, literally everything else it opens.
Everything else is fair game.
Now, as far as the time goes for this, each floor that you check takes you 0.5 hours. That's just the base time that it's going to take no matter what. On the basement floor, so where the bar is, looking around, you eventually find that the lights above the dance floor, there's a biotoxin bomb installed in one of the light switches. So you get to try to defuse that. Also, you find out that... What was the other one? I think that might be it for that one.
In the basement? Which, again,
yeah,
as a reminder, is the bar floor. It is, that is.
Yeah. And then for the ground floor, you find that Grace Steele's guitar is plugged into the studio, has a distortion pedal on it that's supposed to come on at 9 that will just make the guitar sound worse. That's all it's there for. So you have to pass a removal to get rid of it. Also, you find that there is a observation camera installed outside in front of the door that has a second device installed on it that is going to play a loop of nobody being outside, so they never think that anybody's out front. On the top floor, the stun panels built into the walls are having a short. And the hatch that goes up to the rooftop has a device added to it that gives another user access, like, what's it called? Additional authorized user controls for the biometric locks. So these are all of the random things that you can find. It does say, if you don't have a tech, because a tech is pretty much mandatory for this section, that you can always go talk to Backhand about it, but Backhand is going to be grumpy and mad about the fact that you're asking them. They will do it, but they will be grumpy that you're making them do it. So they have other things to do.
I think it also takes more time.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because they're monitoring on their system, so if they have to leave their system to go to where you are to deal with this, to go back to their system.
Right, yeah. It also says that you can get Billy Flight to help you with it, but that they will charge you 50 EB per task. And that it takes an additional 15 minutes per task to do the tasks if you have Billy help you with it. Or Backhand, either of them.
Yeah.
So, there's a cost if you don't have a tech in your group, or are not willing to at least try to do it. Have some Alexec.
Yeah, you don't absolutely need it for everything. As long as if you have someone that has tech skills, you don't need a tech.
Right.
But you do need someone with technical ability
that has elect tech and basic tech.
Yeah.
At least some points.
No, I will say it does say that it is 50 up per task completed. 15 minutes each time they are called to make a repair.
Yeah.
I would just honestly, if someone was clever enough to be like, okay, we've got like, we don't have a tech.
We're gonna find them all,
or we do this one thing. I'm gonna call Billy. If they remember Billy is a tech too, because he's primarily known as a fixer.
Right.
So they have to remember that, or maybe they met a tech in a different mission. But if you're like, hey, I'm gonna pay you $200 to come down here and solve some technical issues, I would not add that extra. I would add 15 minutes. Once, but if they're following with you, I would not add it every single task. They are there, they're with you. They're not leaving the place to come back.
Yeah. Next up, we have the characters go talk to the band. Grace Steele and co.
I like this one.
It turns out that what's their name?
Random.
Random has kind of gone missing. And they need to be found. Basically, the way that this works out is through different means. One of the ways to do it is if you talk to, how do you say their name?
Chevalier.
Yeah, that person. They'll tell you to talk to Billy, because Billy knows everybody. And through the investigation at the beginning of this part, you find out that Random owed a bunch of money to somebody called the Gentleman. And so now you get to go talk to the gentleman. If you go through Billy, he can set up an appointment, a meetup with you guys, which makes it very much easier, because then you go to the building that he lives in, they let you up to the 15th floor, and then you get to just meet with him. Other ways to do it would be to try to sneak into the building or such, which is a much worse idea, because you have to try to get to the 15th floor. No matter how they get there, you can play that however you want. They eventually make it up there, and he tells them that...
sorry, before you get there too far. If you have a fixer in your crew, your fixer can also try to set up that meeting.
Yeah.
Like, that is something...
Because that is something fixers do.
Or if you have a media might be also able to. I wouldn't say it's going to be as easy.
Right.
But anybody who has, like, anybody could try a persuasion conversation. If they fuck up bad, that's going to be horrible. But I would say a fixer would probably have an easier time. So they don't have to go through Billy. If you have a fixer,
and I would say that
definitely encourage your fixer player to set that meeting.
And it does say that if you go through Billy in the book, he's going to charge you 100 EB to set up the meeting. So having your own fixer could probably save you 100 EB.
Yeah, would definitely save you 100 EB.
So you have a few options on how to resolve this. Because you show up there, he has Random, and your options are that you can pay him back. You can partially pay him back, or you can blackmail him. These are the easiest ways to do it. I thought I had a straw. I apologize. But yeah, so basically he greets you, is more than delighted to release the drummer as soon as you guys are able to come up with a solution here. If you agree to pay him back, Random owes him 10,000 EB.
Yep.
So if you got that laying around, you can give that to him, and then you're done. You walk away with your drummer, and everything's great.
It's weird that it's his drummer, because he's definitely a guitar player. He might be able to do both, but he's definitely guitar player. That's the guy you meet outside of Xanadu, who got kicked out for trying to set up a date with the triplets. Yeah, at the same midnight.
Another option is to try to convince the gentleman to release him long enough to do this gig, and then he can deal with random however he wants to get his money back. Now, the difficulty of this is that basically you're going to roll a trading check versus him, and it's a really high difficulty. But for every $500 you're willing to give him up front, it increases your roll on your trading check by 1. So, if you want to throw some money at it, you can make it a much easier check to get random released just long enough to do the show, and then they'll deal with it later.
And again, fixers also have bonuses to trading, so if you've got a fixer, this is their time to shine.
This is their time to shine.
Yep.
Yeah. Last, and this is like the hard mode of all of your options, is if you have a edge runner that has a breacher, you can attempt to hack the gentleman's agent, which is an Alexac roll. And if you can do that without getting noticed, you can find that he has a file called Mr. K Convoy on his device. And if you can pass a streetwise check, you can recall, and you happen to hear the right rumor, you can recall a rumor that a convoy commissioned by Mr. Kerrigan carrying a signed guitar once owned by the legendary rocker boy Johnny Entropy went missing a few days ago, and that the file on this phone is information that he should not have. With that, you can use it to try to blackmail him and just forget about the debt, and everybody walks away and everything is fine. Once again, that's a persuasion versus concentration, but you had to do a lot to get to this point and have heard the right rumors and have a breacher on you and think to hack his agent. So this is the hidden success route. If you choose violence here, it's not a good plan. So he is isn't he holding him like off the side of a building?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when your characters actually approach the building, they can make a perception check. They may be able to see random hanging in the air 15 stories up.
Yeah.
So they
and so
plan to maybe save him before entering the building, but yeah, random is hanging over the balcony this entire time.
Yeah.
Gag.
So you can roll a brawling check to try to catch random before he falls. You can make an athletics check to like dive and try to catch him. That also gives you the option. By the way, this is far too far of a fall, and you will definitely get very injured if you fall on this. But it does give you the option of like grabbing him and then trying to catch one of the lower ledges as you're falling, or several other options. Which even just the grabbing a lower ledge while you're falling is a DV21 athletics check to try to do it without getting yourself injured.
Unless you're grapple hands. Grapple hands are good.
Yeah, because it does say that grappling is a good way to go on this one.
Yeah. I mean, you still have to try to catch random first, but if you can catch him, then the grapple gun or the grapple hand will save you.
I'm trying to find where the damage is on this because it is insane. Yeah, I want to say it's 10d6 also. It is, 10d6 reduced by armor if you fail the second athletics check. And if you fail the second athletics check, you also suffer a broken leg penalty.
Yep. So, just a reminder, that means you're doing every other mission with a broken leg. And possibly next to no health. Now, you may survive that. 10d6, I don't think I would. Random definitely won't.
Nope. Yeah.
Now, if you're holding random, I think random's okay. Because I think you take the damage.
You take the damage instead of random,
him.
yeah.
But if you don't catch him, random ain't surviving that fall. There's no dice roll. He's blue. He's blue.
Yep. On top of that, if you're choosing violence and trying to save him in a heroic way, the gentleman also has a number of guards equal to the number of players present. So that adds more trouble.
And
also, that if you choose to go into combat, this is going to accelerate your clock that you're working against. So,
Oh, I was gonna say not to mention hotel security, which does get called.
yeah,
So
after
there's
6 rounds,
more people that you're gonna have to try and take
yep,
out.
hotel security shows up. Because at round 5, they're like, hey, call the guards. And then at round 4, hotel security starts to arrive. And yeah, it becomes a mess. Basically, it becomes impossible to escape if you choose to do this and don't do it very quickly. And then, assuming that you got all this stuff done and you made it back.
Hang on, sorry. Just
Yeah.
because there's known the gentleman. The gentleman is actually known for being reasonable, because dead people
Yeah.
don't pay back their money. So he generally actually quite reasonable to talk to. This shouldn't be a complicated conversation as long as you are being equally reasonable.
Yeah.
He has his own garden
If you pay him
patch.
10K, you just walk away.
Yeah, well, not only that, but it's also like, hey, you know what? He recently got, he's signed with a band. He'll start making money soon. He'll be able to make these payments. You just need to give him 3 months. Just give him 3 months to
Right.
to start making payments. That might be enough for him to say, as long as you can make that persuasion check. That might not be enough, right? Especially with we'll give you $2,000 up front.
Ideally, this should never come to the choosing violence section of things. You should be able to easily get through this without that level of complication.
I think it would be absolutely awesome if your crew had planned something to catch Random when he falls. And you're just like, oh yeah, we came here, just drop him. He's not making the payments, just let him go. And then just catch him on the way down. Good luck, it's going to be epic, because I'm sure the gentleman will find out that Random survived. And that will probably definitely lead to violence. But one of the things, too, is when you read these campaigns, and this is one of those moments where it's I feel it's good to read the entire book instead of doing it piece by piece by piece by piece. If your players chose to get a loan at the beginning of the game to get more cyberware, they might have got it from the gentleman.
Yep.
Which means, one, your player has a bargaining chip because they already know the gentleman, which means they don't have to do any of that pre-research. If they're like, oh, Random dealt with the gentleman, you're like, oh, I know who that is. I can set up a meeting, that's fine. You could absorb Random's debt. It's not going to be good for you, but that gives you an option to absorb the debt, especially if you've been making regular payments.
Yeah.
Or maybe you guys needed a loan for a car. Here's the gentleman. Maybe, this could be a recurring someone that you have to pay for causes complications to your party down the line continuously.
Yep.
And I think that's really cool. And you wouldn't have known that the gentleman could be a key loan shark player if you didn't read the whole campaign.
It's true. So throughout all 3 of these missions, Vox and Populius, how do you say that?
I pronounce it Populi.
Sure. Populi, keep coming up as who turned in Random for the loan that they owed. Who,
Oh, that's on
hired.
That's in my section.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that throughout all of these, who hired the Badland Bandits, there's a reoccurring somebody is against the Forlorn Hope opening, that you should feel through these missions as you, the storyteller, are running these missions. Kind of give those moments where it's obviously somebody is against you.
Yeah.
So.
Someone else got the code and your shipment got stolen. Someone decided to tell the gentleman who Random was. Someone
installed a whole bunch of random shit, including biotoxins.
They're at least the technical glitches should ensure you should click that someone is trying to fuck this up.
Right. And it has to be somebody that is at least on the inside enough, because the code was only 2 people had it and they wouldn't have given it away. The electronics were checked by backhand at the time that they were installed, so it's been installed in the last day. All of these things are it has to be somebody with some information.
Yeah.
So.
And access.
And with that, I will pass it to Jess.
I did want to say one more note too is what happens if the crew wants to split up for these 3 pre-checklist missions. I don't think that's a problem. Obviously,
No.
some things are going to be more complicated if you don't have the full party there. Stems and Seeds, for example.
For sure.
If you have a nomad who's like, oh yeah, I'll just go and pick that up, they may be able to try to maneuver that chase, but just having them chatting and being shot at is going to be much more difficult for them to succeed if they don't at least have a passenger to go with them.
Yeah.
If your fixer wants to try to deal with the gentleman, they'd probably be okay on their own. Again, it would probably help to have a second person, but that's okay. And if your tech just wants to be like, no, I'll sit here in the basement and
Figure all this
stuff out, that's fine. Because that will shorten their time, and there's nothing wrong with that. If they thought, hey, we can, like, divide and conquer, that's cool.
Let them.
Now, Stems and Seas they can't really do. The gentleman, your fixer might just, if you have a fixer, whoever goes off to the gentleman, might, like, screw up so badly that they're like, guys, I need help. This conversation isn't going well, and I have a situation here, and please help. In which case, then the crew then needs that time, so I would double whatever the book said if it was
the
like,
travel time.
Yeah, right? Or at least add an extra hour there for the rest of your crew to get there. But I think that's fine. I think it's smart. You can absolutely divide and conquer if that's what you choose to do.
Yeah, for sure. And the clock, the way it's built, there is plenty of time for you to get everything done if you do it intelligently. And if you do it even smarter than intelligently, you've got plenty of time. If you're shaving time here and there.
Yeah. So from here, like Games mentioned, it should dawn on the crew naturally that someone is sabotaging things. Now, and has access to the Hope. Like, someone has been, they've walked around and tampered with these things, which means it's someone who can walk into this Hope and tamper
without getting
with
noticed.
Yeah. Now, any member from the old location are considered family, so you shouldn't have to deal with most of them. But there are 3 new hires, right? There's Annie, there's Jorge, there's Sid. So, your crew should be like, oh, we should start with these people. These 3 new people we should start with. Now, to gain information subtly, the crew needs to succeed a DB13 conversation check, right? Because conversation is just naturally and subtly pull information. If they want to be more blunt about it and just ask their questions, it's a DV15 interrogation check. You can still do it. It's slightly harder, but you don't have to try to be subtle. Now, personally, I'm going to say if your players RP, because there are players who struggle with RP, right? And there are players who just naturally RP. If your players prefer to RP it and make some really good natural RP moments, I wouldn't have the problem. Personally, I would just, yeah, you did it. It's great. Like, encourage those roleplay scenes. Apart from Annie, but we'll get to Annie. Also, getting these people to talk is only half the battle. The other half is to determine if they're lying. So I feel like if you're just trying to get them to talk and your players are doing a good job, don't make them roll interrogation or conversation. They don't need to. If you felt that you would have opened up to what they're saying, just do it. Now, both Jorge and Sid require DB13 human perception checks to see if they're telling the truth. Those I would roll regardless, obviously. And throughout their conversation, this is what they'll learn. From Jorge, he does know about the ingredient order, or he did know about it. He has no idea how to handle a data term, let alone repair anything. So, he did not...
He wasn't installing additional components on cameras and such.
Though he does tell you that he saw Annie repair the drink master once.
Yeah. He had broken it.
No, he didn't.
Oh yeah, it was Sid that broke it.
Yep. And as for Random, Jorge and his boyfriend do hook up with Random from time to time. He has no idea who the gentleman is. That is so far off his radar. So of your 3 possibles, maybe he set up the ingredient, but at best. Sid, she did break the drink master once.
Mm-hmm.
But thankfully, she tells you Annie fixed it. She hasn't been allowed to touch the machine since. She has a reputation for being jinx around computers, so technical stuff is not her forte. However, as for Random, she did visit him last night, so she did know where he was staying. Now, hopefully, if your players decided to interrogate those two first before moving on to Annie, they'll notice, hey, Annie's name has popped up twice with the Dream Master thing. However, if they're interrogating everybody, they'll eventually get to her at some point. Don't worry about it too much. Now, this isn't the real Annie. This is Vox of the Red Chrome Legion, who has been biosculpted to look like Annie. Your players do not know this. It's important you know this. Now, while the DVs for conversation or the interrogation to ask questions remains exactly the same, so it would change that, the human perception rolls are against her opposing acting rolls. So these are opposed checks, these are not set checks.
Yeah.
If they can beat her acting checks, they will learn that Annie and her brother Arthur reside at the Shark. That is true. However, they don't consider it to be their home. So there's a bit of a thing where it's like, oh yeah, like our home is here? Not quite true. She completely flat out lies about not knowing the ingredient order. If you can catch that, it's a lie. She does, however, truthfully say that she knows how to operate the Drink Master. She says she doesn't know how to rig a security system. That is a flat out lie if you can beat her acting check. And as for Random, she claims she slept with him, and then she turned him into the gentleman because he broke her heart. He said he loved her and then hooked up with Sid. So, boo-hoo, I called the gentleman on him. She did call the gentleman on him. She does not have a broken heart. That part is a complete fucking lie.
Right.
Now, if the players can't figure this out, but they talk to Random about it, he'll say that he's very upfront with all the people that he has love affairs with.
This is just a good time, homie.
It's just a good time only. And if they want, because they know Sid and Jorge have both hooked up with him recently or in the past, they will corroborate that story. So if your players can't get the truth out of Annie, if they can't beat her acting skill checks, there are ways to kind of suss this out.
Find out, yeah.
Now, if the crew succeeds on at least 2 human perception checks, I think there's 4 here. If they succeed on at least 2, and like call Annie out on it, or they confront her on information in her cyber deck, I will get to that in a moment, Annie activates her body weight auto-injector, and she sends a deadly amount of biotoxin directly to her.
Yep.
If you confront Annie about what's going on,
she's out.
She's out, yeah. For the betterment of the mission, she takes herself out of play, so you can't get more information. If you try to save her, it requires DV29 paramedic check. That means you're going over into, like, heroic legendary, like, off the chart success.
Paramedic is a ×2 skill.
Yeah.
To try to get a 29 early in a game is not likely. Even rolling well and dumping luck, this is not a high likelihood.
And even if you do, she's still in a coma.
Yep.
You'll save her life, but she's in a coma. It's not going to do anything. Now, if the crew searches her, and this is where I'm kind of a little iffy, because it was like, if they search her and find her cyber deck, and I was like, why would she let them search her? Like, she might, like,
right.
Obviously it's a conceal, like, a post-conceal reveal check. She might have thought she hit it all well. Having your crew persuade her to the point of, oh, let us just pat you down, make sure you don't have anything on you, that I would actually have a roll for, of, like, persuasion, interrogation, something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or if they, you know, called her on her 2 lies and she's got the auto-injector and they search her body, they'll find a cyber deck. So either they search her, beat her conceal reveal, find the cyber deck, or search her body for a cyber deck to find it. The information on it, now it has a DNA lock in addition to a password. If they manage to get into the cyber deck, there's a lot of information, including that the Red Chrome Legion plans on attacking tonight. Over 200 Legionnaires are involved in the attack. Over 200. The attack begins at 9:19. The assault will take place at 3 different points: the basement, the ground floor, the roof. Papuli is leading the charge at the roof, and he seems to be co-leader with Annie, who the crew will learn here, her real name is Vox. Papuli will be carrying both a bomb and a hit list. The hit list has Marianne, the professor, Grace, Petra, if she's still alive, and a few other staff members. And there's a note that says, reminder, long step at the apartment door. Now, at this point, depending on what information the crew had, they might have not found any of Annie's lies. She might have played off really nice and sweet. They might not have thought to search her. Or if they searched her, they might not have found her cyber deck. At which point, Annie may just be like, the crew might literally at this point not know what's going on, and that is okay.
Somehow missed everything.
And that is okay. They had chances. Sometimes the dice do not roll in your favor. They will find things out later on. It's okay. They do not need this information to succeed. If the crew did find out that it's Annie, there's also, a recommended, hey, have them make a deduction check. Annie has a cyber deck. Maybe she planted a virus in the net architecture, which in fact, shockingly, she did. Now you do need a netrunner for this. If you don't have one, telling Marianne or Backhand, they will hire one. You don't have to pay that cost. No.
Which is nice for a change.
Yeah, they will cover it. The virus turns the Hope's defense systems against anyone who's not RCL. They're not wearing RCL colors or the logo, the defenses will take them out.
Yep.
So hopefully at this point they've told Marianne what they've discovered. Annie may or may not be dead. If they didn't find anything from Annie, they may just go back to Marianne and be like, we don't know. Something's going on, we know something's up, but we can't figure out.
Don't worry, we took care of everything.
If you're Wraith, that would 100% be the thing. I figured it out, it'll be fine, don't worry about it. I believe each interrogation takes, if you're trying to do it subtle, it takes 30 minutes. If you're doing it just brashly, it takes 15. So, not being subtle kind of works in your favor. But because that's like 3 different people, if you're trying to do it nicely, that's an hour and a half. At least. Plus breaking into the cyber deck and finding out all this information. So that, the extra time that you had is now,
is getting eaten up.
Is getting eaten up, right? And that's kind of why you need extra time. Now, if they did find out everything, they have the opportunity to go check out Amy's apartment. Right? They know that her and Arthur live at the Shark. They may choose to do that. If so, that also advances the clock.
Yep.
And I would remind them at this point, if they're like, oh, we want to go check out her apartment, just remind them that, they found out that RCL is going to attack. If they got the information from the cyber deck, right? Red Legion is going to attack. If they want to set up anything, that is also going to take time to do.
Right.
How much time they have left really varies on how much time they have spent on everything else. So, make sure that they're
919, 200 Legionnaires.
Constantly aware that this time is going. And when you tell Marianne, oh, by the way, Red Legion is going to attack, she just goes, well, then they'll meet a bar with badasses and guns. We are opening at 9 p.m. She does not care.
Yeah.
So there's a side quest. You can go to the apartment. You don't have to, but you could go to the apartment. Or if they didn't get information from Annie and they're still a little sus, they may choose to go and investigate everybody else's apartments, potentially. If that's a route they choose to take, it's going to eat up time.
And you may still have the master key
for the people who are here. Jorge lives in, one of them lives in Watson. One of them lives, Sid and Jorge do not live nearby.
Oh, you're right.
Annie does, however.
Yeah.
And that's information you can find out. Now, at Annie's apartment, there is mine at the front door. Hence her note in her cyber deck. If they found her cyber deck, they don't think of this, I would let them have a concentration check. Personally, because as players, there's so many moving pieces right now, give them the chance.
It's easy to forget something like that.
Yeah.
But they've seen the note, take a big step at the door.
Yep.
Remind them maybe.
Yeah. Now, in the apartment, they could learn, obviously with successful checks, or taking their time. They find the bodies of the real Annie and Arthur that are stored in a deep freezer. There's an encrypted memory chip that has the same info that's on any cyber deck. So if they didn't get her cyber deck, but they could tell that she was a liar, they can find it here. Which I think is very important because this is like putting key information in multiple places. Where if your players miss one, it doesn't mean that information lost. This is such an important tool as a GM. Put the information in multiple places.
Eventually they'll run into it, hopefully.
Yeah. There's also an encrypted memory chip that contains the full physical scans of Vox and Papuli so that they can be re-biosculpted once this job is done. There's also the tools needed to make a bomb. So if your players haven't figured out that there's also a bomb incoming, there's bombs.
This is a good clue.
Or they might just think this is for the biotoxin bomb that was above the lights. That's fine.
Or the trip mine on the way in.
Yep. That's okay. That's okay if they haven't figured it out that it could be for more things. Now, if they haven't told Marianne what's going on, at this
hopefully
point,
at this
really
point
should.
they think too.
Yeah. There's really not much more. So with whatever time the crew has left, if there is any time at all, this is any pre-planning that they want to do. Countermeasures, like if they want to set traps, if they want to call in extra people for opening night, but just as like backup because they know a fight is coming. Whatever they want to do. If you've run pre-missions, if you've run like haven't got a stitch to wear and you haven't used John, it's all about the suit solo. Maybe calling him up, who owes you a favor, calling him up and be like, hey, we need your help to defend against 200 Legionnaires. That's the thing.
Yep.
Whatever they need to do, whatever they want.
Let them have their demons run moment.
Yeah. If they succeed or not, that's where that's basically the DV that you choose to send.
Yep.
Unless it's calling in a favor. If they're calling in a favor, I would make it a DV. They're calling in a favor. Like, that's the whole reason you give favors, right?
Yeah.
Now, it's obviously going to take time, so advance the clock is needed. Once 9 p.m. hits, the doors open. That's it. Doesn't matter if your crew was in the middle of something. If they only have like 15 minutes left and it takes 30 minutes, it don't get done.
Yep.
And that will bring us to the climax, which is the grand opening of the Hope. Notable guests are locals that the crew would have met from Welcome to the Neighborhood. There's also bar regulars like Roxy and Kissy, Axeman, Roy Riley, Sundance. Rogue will be there, who's also apparently really great at roach race, FYI. But I found that just a fun little tidbit of information. I would not have picked Rogue as a roach race person.
Right.
There will be members of Team Monster, Phoenix Redwine who's a medtech who owns From the Ashes Clinic. They may have heard of before. Harry the Shrimp will be there. Fiona Hayes of Network 54. Jack Sprokowski, Mr. Stud. Newly elected city manager for Watson, Lucius Ryan. As well as Woodchipper. Now, she's not included in this list, but I would also include Major Veronica Stiles and Lieutenant Tanzia. Especially if Tanzia is doing head of security, I don't see why Stiles would be here. So I would add her.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Now, even if the crew wants to speak with one or more of these guests, there really isn't time before the attack to do so. But knowing this list of people, because it's like, well, then why would I care who is here? It's going to help you when you're talking about the mass combat that's supposed to take place. So, 9 p.m. doors open. 9:15, Grace goes on stage, gives a small speech. And with 1 minute into the first song, the wall near the bathrooms blows apart, and the Red Chrome Legion streams in from the sewers. On the ground floor, so that's the basement, on the ground floor, they also break in. So, a new clock enters play, this time set to a number of 20, and it's going to, at the end of a round, it decreases. So you're bringing the clock down to 0.
Yep.
Now, outfits we've seen before, certain rounds, events trigger if their prerequisite has been fulfilled. So, mass combat. Actually, Gates, is there anything you want to say before I get to mass combat?
Not a lot. I like up to this point. I like the way that it's set up all the pieces to get you to this point of the mass combat and all of the backstory that the book up till now has done a really good job of setting up. Um, I will say, there's times that I give these missions in these books a hard time for the order they do things and stuff like that. But I think that it all works out the way it does because they do it the way they do. So I will concede that.
I do think it too. It would be cool because they think like the most of the missions for this grand opening is the checklist, and they don't do any investigating. Then this attack really comes out of left field, and it can be a really good surprise for them.
Right.
Also, it's nice to see that the Red Chrome Legion who attacked them back at the beginning but got like pushed off. This is why they're coming back and doing it. Like there are like there are ripple effects that you don't see right away, but it always happens. Okay, if you haven't taken a break in your session, and this isn't where your session started, I would recommend taking a break here before combat starts. As described in the book, massive combats are pure chaos, violent and wild. When describing combat, don't forget what's going on around the crew, as 100 or so armed staff and patrons of the Forlorn Hope brawl against the Red Chrome Legion. In this battle, two sides start off evenly matched, while the Hope and the staff, their patrons, are better armed and more experienced. Don't forget, Jack Swarkowski, Mr. Stud, a good chunk of those people are edge runners or former edge runners. Like they have skills.
Yeah. Even if they're retired, they've done this.
They have skills. Yeah. Red Chrome Legion though has overwhelming numbers. It doesn't matter how good you are. One person versus 200. Probably 200 is going to win at some point.
Right.
Now the crew's actions before and during the invasion will swing the results. Every member of the Red Chrome Legion, except its two leaders, Vox and Cooley, will fight to the death today. They will not run. I will say I really love this section and how smoothly they made mass combat occur. Because it can
reminds me
so chaotic, but for you as a GM, it's so beautifully like straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say this reminds me of the concert setup from Street Stories that we talked about, where like if this happens, it gives you pluses and minuses that kind of sway things. It's a very similar system, but in the event of mass combat, which very easily can happen in the time of the Red, this is a great system that allows you to make sense of something that would otherwise be very hard to manage.
Yes. And I like how they've done this, that it doesn't pull focus away from the players, but still makes it huge. So what you're going to do is each side, there's the Hope, right, good guys, and there's the Red Chrome Legion, bad guys. Those are your two sides, right? They each get a combat number. Both start at base 10. And depending on the crew's actions, that number can increase. So for example, if the crew got ingredients, like the actual, if they managed to save those ingredients, the Hope combat number grants a +1. If the crew uncovered Red Chrome Legion's attack, there's an additional +2, and then these bonuses stack. There are 15 possible points that you can add to the 10 if they did absolutely everything right. I don't remember
like
if I
included run.
Backup being a +1 if you have a lawman in the thing to that 15 total. But there are up to like 15 options. Red Chrome Legion has similar bonuses. If the crew didn't get the ingredients, the Hope doesn't get that +1. Instead, Red Chrome Legion gets that +1. If the crew noticed something was amiss, but they didn't uncover the major plot, the Red Chrome Legion number goes up by 1. Now there are 10 points that the Red Chrome Legion can get in total. But again, those points, it doesn't mean like, oh, we can get 15 here and they go up by 10, because a lot of those points go to one or the other.
Yep.
Right?
Can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah.
You did not include the backup number, but you did include that they got all 3 points for doing pre-measures of setting up for the attack.
Yeah.
So
possible points, because I was like, I don't know if you have a lawman, so that makes sense that I didn't include it.
Right.
So yeah, once
Sorry.
you get all those bonuses. So again, this is where if the crew didn't finish their actions, you know, if they were like, hey, there was this other thing and we want to go and hunt down who did this, and they did interrogation and they didn't check any of the security or do backhands work, or they spent way too much time at the gentleman that they were like, well, we can't do $10,000, but how about we do a job for you right now that's really quickly. And sure, you could send them on a job that's 2 hours. They don't even, it could be a simple roll, success or fail, but if that eats into their time, that was their choice. And this is where they're going to see how not
the results of all that.
Yes. Yeah. So either during the break or between sessions, you can sort out this number instead of doing it while tension's high. Instead of like setting up, there's an explosion and Red Chrome Legion swarms in, and then go, okay, hang on, I have to figure out these maps. Do it beforehand, right? You'll
have this be the beginning of a session or after a break.
Yeah, during your break, do one or the other. On page 144, there's a beautiful chart to help you get those numbers. You check it off, then it's like, what's the total combat number? So it's like 10 plus, 15 for, or 10 plus 5 for the Hope, 10 plus 2 for Red Chrome Legion. So 15 versus 12. So at the end of every round, they make opposed bar brawl checks. They're having a bar brawl, right? So it's a D10 plus their combat number. And that combat number, like, keep it on a sheet, because that combat number can decrease or increase as the fight continues. But whenever you roll that, you're encouraged to describe what's going on in the bar, even if it's a simple sentence, and even if no crew member is present, just so that they remember that this is a mass combat that is going on. And this is where, it's a great way to use those names from the guest list to detail scenes. And you can write this out preemptively if you want. If you're like, hey, it's positive for the Hope, so I'm gonna if it's negative for, positive for RCL, right? You can have all that pre-written.
And if they have a favorite NPC that's been doing things, have them do something awesome or something bad happen to them. Like, give flavor that's going to matter to the players.
If you rolled a nat 20 for the Hope side, or not nat 20, nat 10, natural 10, for the combat number on the Hope side, maybe Jack got a double headshot, and you mark it's like, as Jack is fighting off, still angry at the bozos, maybe depending on how it happened, but maybe they really connected with Jack during the bozo mission, he gets a double headshot. Or something happens. On the flip side, maybe Carrie, if they really liked Carrie, or Calliope from the roller derby thing, maybe you narrate that they go down, and it's unclear if they are unconscious or dead. It could be something simple as, Fiona Hayes starts recording, but then, when a shotgun goes off right next to her head and kills her cameraman, she deltas. She's out of the building, she is out of the fight, because whoever wins, the other side, I think, loses. Their combat number goes down by 1. So if the Hope loses, their number has to go down, which has to represent someone either dying or running. And not everyone in that bar is going to be willing to fight to the death. So you don't have to kill people. You can have them run. But having those narratives, especially as Game said, having it with a character that connects to, is going to make a huge difference. It's going to make it feel
Well, and this is, the tides of the battle. Mm-hmm. So even if the representing them losing one isn't, like, maybe it's that somebody got thrown through the bar and all of the blood oranges are destroyed. Like, anything that is going to destroy morale represents a turning of the battle.
That's true, you could do morale as well,
Yeah.
So that's how mass combat works. So now, as for the players, depends on where they were when things kicked off. If they start in the bar, if they're all in the bar when this starts, they're in the thick of things, right? All this fighting is going on around them. It will never interact with their space. For this, I wouldn't say movement matters. You're not moving. It's as it is, ranged shots are at a penalty. Even if you have a pistol where 0 to 6 meters is your best friend, there are so many people pushing and shoving and having this fight. Ranged weapons are not going to be good. Melee is probably your best bet. And all these things are going around them. They're not paying attention to who's fighting who, because there are so many Red Chrome Legion, all they can focus is like staying alive, essentially, right? Now there will always be a number.
It's like,
sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's like when you're playing a video game and like the ship you're on's on fire. Like, the fire is not going to burn the character, it's there to represent the chaos around you. And that's kind of how this battle is. It represents the chaos that's going around you, so that's not the focus of your character.
No, it does say if your players do choose to use ranged weapons, if they ever roll a natural 1, it will hit an ally and reduce that combat number by 1.
Yep.
I don't know if I would be that mean. I think I would roll evens odds just to see, but
right,
that's me. Now your players in the bar will be fighting Red Chrome Legion trash mobs, essentially, and there will always be a number of trash mobs equal to the number of edge runners present. These trash mobs only have 10 HP. They have some armor. They have 7 SP7 armor.
SP.
But they only have 10 hit points. However, due to the fact that there's 200 Legionnaires that have swarmed this building, if one goes down, another one just takes its place. Okay?
It is never ending.
It is never ending. However, for every 2 Red Chrome Legion trash mobs defeated, the Hope is given a +1 bonus to their bar brawl check on the next round. Now, if the players all started in the bar and they haven't moved on by the end of the 3rd round, Marianne will tell them to go to the ground floor to make sure that, they don't get flanked or something. On the ground floor is a squad of Red Chrome Legion heavies that entered at the same time as the ones from the server we mentioned that before. The heavies are there to plant bombs. That is their main goal. They will take out any enemy, but their main goal is to plant bombs to destroy the Hope. If the players got the plans ahead of time, players may be stationed here. If they got the plans ahead of time and told Marianne, there's a group of staff that got set up there. Either way, because there's somebody there, the heavies will focus on taking them out. They will not have time to plant bombs. So that is in your favor.
Yep.
However,
them planting bombs is a bad thing.
Yeah. If there is staff above and your players don't get there until after, those people will have died by the time the players get up. But again, no explosives will be planted. They plant an explosive when the clock hits 18, 16, and 14. There is 1 heavy for every 2 edge runners present. This I don't quite understand, right? Because it takes 2 edge runners to fight 1 heavy. If there's only 1 heavy, it says there is 1 edge runner, it says there is only 1 heavy but 3 trash mobs. And I was like, if it takes 2 edge runners to fight 1 heavy, that doesn't... How?
It's a little overwhelming at that point.
Yeah. I feel like maybe it's 1 for 1. I don't know. If it seems to go too easy with the heavy, if you do 1 for 1, have some trash mobs run in.
Throw some trash mobs in, yeah.
Now, if Annie / Vox is still alive, she replaces one of or the heavy that is on the ground floor.
Yep.
The explosives are on a timer. They explode when the clock hits 10. So if they had time to plant even 1, it will explode when the clock hits 10.
Yep.
Spotting the explosive is a DV9 perception.
It's real easy.
You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Disarming it requires DV13 demolitions check and your action. Moving the bomb will set it off, which is also, I think, an easy demolitions skill check to make. And again, if your crew doesn't have the skill set to disarm, they can call backhand. Or if you want to be real nice, because there's a lot of shit going on, just have backhand follow them upstairs.
Happen to be with them.
Now, backhand's priority is defusal over combat. If your players are struggling with the heavy, she don't care. She is stopping the bombs from exploding. She's not going to help you until the bombs are defused. Now, if you are able to defeat the heavies that are on the ground floor, you get to add +2 to the Hope's combat number, which is nice. If Vox was alive and is defeated here, you get to decrease the combat number by 2. In addition to, right?
Of the Red Chrome.
That's both. Yes, sorry, decrease the Red Chrome combat number by 2.
Yeah.
So if you defeat all the heavies and you killed Andy at this point, Hope number goes up by 2, Red Chrome Legion goes down by 2.
So a swing of 4, which is amazing.
Huge, yeah. Finally, there's the roof, where Papuli, aka Arthur, who they have never met up until now, so I wouldn't even worry about that. It's just Papuli. He is accompanied by 1 heavy. He ziplines down from the shark's roof to the Hope's roof. If an Edgerunner is on the roof, combat begins. Your Edgerunner will get 1 free round first. If no one is there, he's going to break into the top floor and set a firebomb before fleeing. Then depending on how far he's gone, depends on where the clock is. Clock 17, he's made it into the building. 15, they break into the Freeman's apartment. 10, the bomb is set and armed. At 5, they leave. At 0, bomb explodes. If the crew fixed the hatch earlier, all those numbers take an extra turn. So instead of it happening at 17, it happens at 16. Instead of 15, it's 14. It won't explode at 0, it explodes at -1.
Yeah.
Right, because everything got pushed down an extra turn. Now, if the bomb gets planted and you have to defuse it, it's going to take 3 actions and a DV-15 demolitions check. Only 1 Edgerunner, or I should say 1 person, because I'm assuming you can call backhand. I don't see why you wouldn't.
Right.
Or if you've, honestly, if you've had Billy help you to deal with these tech glitches, Billy's probably here too. You could probably call Billy if your players are like, no, we want to call Billy instead, call Billy, that's fine.
And this firebomb is much more complicated than the previous explosives.
But only 1 person can attempt to defuse it, so it's going to take 3 rounds, right? Because it takes 3 actions. 3 rounds. Anyone, though, can assist to give that +1 complimentary skill check. That's fine. Mm-hmm. Alternatively, the bomb can be moved. It does require 2 people to lift and carry it. But if you move it, you have to move it somewhere.
It's still going to go
off when you hit 0, so you're destroying some part of the neighborhood. Keep that in mind.
You just go take it to that palm tree.
Oh god. Biotechnica strike team? Well, if it's not Red Chrome, well, there's security cameras. I don't know, man. You can dress up in chrome colors and then try to look like Carousel. Now, if you defeat Papuli, you get to subtract 2 from the Red Chrome Legion's combat number. If the bomb ever explodes, the Hope is set on fire. Both the Hope's combat number and the Red Chrome Legion's combat number is reduced by 10. As people have either died or fled during this explosion. And that's overall the overview of the entire combat that you're dealing with. Now there are some extras. There is an optional chaos effect, extra chaos effects. Yep. Now, to assist with this, the book suggests giving this chart to a trusted player to help roll and explain effects. If a player is also really quiet and doesn't talk a lot, I would say you could also give it to them, as long as they're comfortable with it. Because all they're going to do is roll a d10 to see what's on the chart, and then a d6 to find out who it happens to. You think on a 1 or a 2 it happens to your side, 4 or 5 it happens to the Red Chrome Legion, 6 it happens to both.
Right.
These are things like they fall prone, because the floor is really bloody and slippery, to taking on extra damage, stuff like that. This is a lot, though, to keep in mind. If that seems like too much extra work, do not include it.
Yeah. It's cool to have for flavor. It is not necessary for story. And
you don't have to roll it every time, too, right? I think it says you could roll this at the end of every round. Nah, just... if you feel like maybe
every round you have an EMP going off really and people losing cyberware.
Yeah. If a round went maybe a little too smooth or too, whatever, too quickly, sure, roll it. Second, if the crew wants to split up, right? Because I don't know if this was actually covered. Oh no, it's covered in the book. Let them split up. The barball checks keep happening. And of course, if they want to split or go back down to the bar, because maybe Red Chrome Legion keeps rolling the dice rolls for Red Chrome Legion's combat number keeps doing great things, and people keep falling. And through this narration, and they really want to go back to the bar and try to help fight and turn the tides. That's fine, right? That gives each player a different story to tell in this combat. I was in the bar when this happened. Oh, I was on the roof. I took out this person, or this was my fighting experience. So
and looking at the far future, this is going to, assuming, no matter basically how this goes, but assuming your character survives, this is a story they will tell. This is like a big runner story for them. So let them build that mythos, you know?
Now the book's just keeping the same initiative queue, just to keep it easier to track no matter where people are. Now personally, especially for me, if the crew started out divided, I would group them by floor, and then initiative.
Yeah.
You know, whoever has the highest initiative, that group gets to go first. That way you're not going to like, okay, let's do the battle on the roof. Okay, now to the bar. Now to the second floor. Now to the bar. Back to the roof. Like, you two on the roof, what are you doing? Okay, now now we move to the ground floor. What are you two doing? You know?
Right, yeah.
That's what I would do.
Handle it floor by floor.
Personally. If they move floors, move them to whatever initiative order they had, just in that floor, right? That's how I would do it, just to make narration of the battle a little easier. Now the battle is over when one of three things happen. First, if the Hope's combat number drops to 0, or every member of the crew dies, the Hope is lost.
Yep.
You lose, campaign over. Game over. If at any time the Red Chrome Legion combat number drops to 0, the Hope survives. Or, if Papuli's bomb is defused, the Hope survives. So if they can defuse his bomb before combat reaches 0, you win.
Yep.
If the Hope dies, again, this is where the campaign ends. If it survives, the Hope and the crew has a story for years to come. That's what Gabe said, right? Now here, it doesn't state what reputation points to give here, but I would give them a good chunk, because this is a story that is going to go city-wide, if not further, because of nomads, and it's going to live for a while. So this is one of those almost, for me, permanent reputation
and establishing points. Yeah.
Not mentioned in the book, but I would give them a good chunk. Whatever it says, where it's like, your exploits are known across the city, that's where their reputation should be. And that's it. That's the combat.
Yep.
Downtime, they get at least a week before Marianne gives them the last job, which uncovers who started this whole problem in the first place.
Yep.
And you get a recipe for the Hope Reborn drink, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. And that very, very long description is why we've decided to do one story this week instead of 2. Because we were doing 2 a week. I know YouTube, we've broken it up a little bit, but for the Twitch audience, we've been doing 2 a week. This one is just so massive that we were like, nope, this gets its own episode.
It's because you have those pre-missions and then the mass combat.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in here.
As for final thoughts, though, I think this is a great mission.
Yeah.
And the reason, of course, that it's 8 to 12 hours is you can have players that burn through those first 3 missions, don't do any investigation work, and then it's just combat. Yep. Right? Like, if they skip the investigation work, which is totally fine, they can, the Hope's combat number's going to start real low.
It's going to be real hard on them later.
But they can do it. And I like that. I like that it rewards for completion of things. It rewards you for investigating, which is huge, I think. It doesn't just let you just run up and do things. Well, it does. It gives you. If you want to, you can, but you'll be rewarded if you take some time and plan.
This was constructed really well. That it breathes with the world. It is a meaningful moment, and this, like I was saying before, and what you were saying with the reputation, this sets them up a little bit. Like, people will remember this night. Maybe not who was there, or maybe not who did what, but they will remember this night for a long time. And your character can probably get a free drink in a bar off of stories about this. You know, like this is a moment, and it's cool that you've built to this with your story.
I would even, argue that if you win, and the battle is over, and there's all these bodies, right? Like, it's still opening night.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still a lot going on, I'm sure. But I wouldn't put it past, like, maybe, like, for Marianne to take a picture of the crew who helped do all of this, if not that night, the next night, like, invite them back to have a picture.
Right.
And remember, when they come back for this final task, there's a wall with, like, not just their regular photos, but of the crew that has helped bring the Hope back. You know, where you guys are kind of immortalized on the wall. If any Edrunner died during the very first mission because they chose to stay in the building for whatever reason, give them a little memorial spot on the wall as, in memorandum of those we lost.
Yeah.
And that's not something you have to showcase during this mission, but you can showcase at the beginning of the next one. Because, like I said, this is such an iconic story, an iconic battle. Like, this is going to be told for years to come.
Right. Whether you win or lose, this will be told forever, assuming you survive. But if this building survives, this is a fantastic resource for your characters to use. We've said that there's a medical area, there's a tech area. Like, if you need weapons fixed, if you need, somewhere to drink, like, this is a good place for your characters to go to. And you've built that safe haven in the world for them and created this cool moment around it, so.
Not to mention you've befriended everybody in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
This is such a, like, they really did a great job of making this feel like building up a place for your Edrunners to live and breathe.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this mission, as much as there's a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really enjoyed this mission. And the mass combat rules are just chef's kiss.
Yeah, for sure.
They made it so smooth to integrate as a GM.
If you can implement these in your normal games, do so.
Yeah, as a GM, instead of worrying about having multiple, like, tokens on the board and having to do, initiative for everybody and rolling attacks for 20 different enemies that are fighting 20 other NPCs. Like, nah. 2 rolls, you're done.
Yeah.
2 rolls is easy.
Mm-hmm.
Without taking away from the players, because your players should be the stars. Right?
Yeah. They are who you're telling the story about and with.
And you could have, like, all these people come back into play down the road if you want. Like, the gentleman could be a great source for a loan, especially if your characters don't have a car.
Oh, yeah.
You get a car, that's what you do, right? You get a loan from someone. Get a loan from a gentleman. Why not? Good luck. You know how to pay it off.
Well,
if you somehow agreed that Random would pay things back, and he's not paying things back, the gentleman may consider you the target. Or...
Right, you're now a new guarantor of the loan.
Or depending on how what services you provided, that could be a recurring thing. You had mentioned
also,
that people, you could tell a story that you were like, oh, I helped save the Hope, and that's the story that they could tell throughout the bar. I love the idea of those baby punks that you ran into in the very first mission. Being like, oh no, we were there trying to take credit for your thing, saving the Hope for that mission in a different bar that you guys frequent. Like, you hear someone trying to claim credit, you look over and it's the baby punks from the first mission. You're like, I think it'd be hilarious.
Well, and as far as, like, world building stuff goes, in previous missions we met the Lucky Charms, assuming any of them survived. Those are reoccurring characters. Assuming any of the Badland Bandits survived in this mission, those are reoccurring characters. These are all things that you're building into the world that can always come back in a good or bad way to help or hinder your characters as you're telling other stories.
If Vox or Pakuli got out,
get away,
didn't kill them,
yeah,
but you still survived, oh, great enemies to come back.
Yeah. And if your characters didn't find out what they originally looked at like before the biosculpting, after they leave this mission, they're going to look like their original selves, and so your characters may not know anything about them.
Yep. That would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. I think that's all I've got for this. For final thoughts of...
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like we covered it pretty well, our feelings and such.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us for this review. I know it was a long one. We appreciate you greatly. Hopefully, it helps you as a GM. I mean, that's why we do these long, in-depth reviews, is to kind of give insight and understanding and point out things where we think, you know, you can take time, or, you know, areas where you feel like maybe, you know, you should tweak these things. Oh, I suppose, too, I was going to say, if, because I know if Petra died, they have an option for who to bring in, but not for Edelweiss, who's like the cook. If you have NPCs that your players are tied to, or if they have like family or friends in their background or something that you want to bring them in here. Be like, hey, you know, the Hope is short on a head cook or security or something. Make it personal that way. You don't have to use the people that are in the book. Right?
Nope.
It gives another connection, and then of course when mass combat happens, their lives are in jeopardy. You don't have to specifically put their lives in jeopardy, but their lives are in jeopardy just as a whole, right?
Being there.
If that combat number reaches 0, they're gone. So.
Yep.
So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully it was helpful for you. Next week we will return for our final, to look at the final mission, Ripping the Ripper. Where again we uncover who blew up the original Hope, and that kicked off this whole adventure, how one domino brought about all of this. So
the epilogue, if you will.
Yes. Please do tune in for that. Otherwise, if you want more Edgerunners HQ content, keep an eye out on Blue Sky, YouTube, Patreon, here on Twitch. And until next time, yeah, for now.